really want to get this deck list back up and running. How can I pull this? I have the documentation up for that deck list, and I can't find a way to resize it without click and dragging. Put everything back for now. Thank you very much, Legal Luca, for the follow. I appreciate it. I want to get these deck lists up for you guys. Come on, deck tracker. Cooperate with me. Still no plays. Looking like no plays till turn 3 right now, which against Mage is not a good thing. Depends what kind of Mage this is, I guess. The Dovahkiin title, I believe, is the one that you get for purchasing the starter bundle for Heroes of Skyrim. The 10 packs and free legendary pack, I think it is, the $10 bundle. That should be the one to get you the Dovahkiin title. How do I want to block this? We can devour that, but it doesn't get any other dragons up for us. Oh, good. I'm glad you got that link working. He can firebolt and trade into that if he wants to. Do I have any other messages? What am I missing? Got that little notification. I don't know. Alright, so there's the firebolt trade. It's going over here. I think we're going to devour and trade. Do you think Archer OTK market is good? I think the market decks have been really good for a while. I haven't been running the Archer specific one. I've been running an Assassin one. It works pretty well. Oh, Daggerfall Mage. Wish I had another Devour for that. Alright, so he's going to get to eat that there. We can Treeminder over here to ramp if we get another play. Definitely want to get ramping. And I guess Cliffside Lookout over here, but then he can... No, I think he's okay. But I do think the Archer list, I think I saw Justin running one the other day. It was mostly the Firebrands in there, and I saw him taking out one of the Praetorian mages with it, and I was super excited to see that. Speaking of the Praetorian Echo mages, it has begun. So it looks like getting Alduin out might be a pretty big thing for us this game. Take that trade, man. You know you have to. So I can't Edict and play something. I can Karthspire Scourge with Guard. I think I'm going to attack first, though, just in case. We'll get this guy out. I could have buffed him before attacking, but I didn't want to risk this guy dying after the attack. Now, next turn, we can either go Skeletal Dragon. I pulled a Premium Echo. That was actually one of my first premiums in this expansion, too. I was like, oh, come on. Out of all the cards to get, I get the one that's going to get nerfed. Oof. That's rough. So basically, we need to get Alduin out and make sure that we're going to win pretty soon. I guess we could just keep ramping. Haven't even messed with any of the new cards yet to do and have a busy week. What do you think some of the best cards in the expansion are? The two headliners at the moment are this Echo of Akatosh and the Praetorian Commander. It's the yellow 6-cost 3/3. Buffs everything in your deck by +2/+2. That card's pretty fantastic. Other good cards. This is Alduin. He's good, but very, I guess, specific. You need to be running basically a dragon deck. There's the Winterhold Illusionist that lets you buff. Not buff, it lets you resummon things. You disappear for the turn, which means you can protect it from prophecy procs, and then when you resummon it, you have the summon effect gets triggered again. The card gets healed, so all the health comes back, any debuffs go away. I think that's a very powerful card. That's a cool one to see. And we can actually almost all do it next turn. What other good cards? There's a lot of really good cards in this expansion. There's a lot of cards with Dragon Synergy that let you draw or heal. What other ones? The Master Swordsmith buffs all items in your deck. I mean, I think there's a pretty large power increase with this expansion. I'm not super worried about his board right now, although maybe I should be. If I go 6, 10, 13... There's definitely so many new cards for you to try out this expansion. I definitely suggest just kind of doing what I've been doing, is just making weird decks. They're obviously not tier 1, top of the line decks, but they let you kind of see what the new cards are good at in different ways. So at this point, we're basically just hanging on to Alduin as a nuke if we need it. But we have double edict. We're about to get 4 Leviathans, especially if he makes this trade for us. Because if he were to keep this alive, we would have only gotten 3 Leviathans. Now we're going to get all 4 thanks to him. Pulled Swims at Night OTK. Oh yeah, Swims at Night. I love that new card. That went right into my assassin list. I was actually thinking about running the 0-cost Paralyze as well, but I was like, you know what? Might as well leave it. Oh, give me all them keywords for Alduin. Whew! My man's about to be hungry. Max mana is 12, but ramp I think you can go up to 25. Yeah, Swims at Night is a 4-cost 2/2, puts a 0-cost action in your hand, and anytime you play a 0-cost card, it gets buffed +1/+1. So now we have a Breakthrough Guard Odoving with Ward. Oh god, this is going to be so beautiful. Just to stop his draw, I think we're going to edict that as well. So now we have some pretty insane stuff set up here. Odovin with Breakthrough Guard, Regenerate, and Ward from that Devour. More power than you know what to do with on board. That's fine. Stealing a Leviathan. Alright, so I guess we go for lethal, and if we don't get lethal, we Odoving whatever's left. I think that's where we're going to go. I think So we had everything ready to go to finish that game. Yesterday was my first quote-unquote real stream. So you didn't really miss out on much. Today's the first real day. Matchup against Bertie Blowcut. Is that how you say that? Bertie Bowlcut. Bowlcut, alright. I'm going to put everything back. Want some more early game. Ask for early game, got late game. But at least we have dragons this time. On deck list. To be your first day, I'm not doing too bad at all. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. As far as like the talking and all that stuff, I'm pretty used to that from YouTube. Streaming is a little bit, I guess, different. YouTube, I can at least cut out all my talking mistakes and nobody ever finds out. So I guess this is a little more raw, I would say. But I like it because it's more direct contact. With YouTube, I have to talk and then I upload it and then I wait. And then eventually I get some interaction with the viewers. At least here it's direct conversation. It's more of hanging out. Whereas YouTube, it's more of like supplying a product, I guess, would be... I have to supply the video in order to engage in conversation. Whereas here, it just happens organically. I think it's a fun, different way to look at things. I'm raw dogging it. Yep, you're damn right. Now, I may just ignore that guy for now and hope that eventually we draw into a Devour. I'd rather Devour that than let him get a contract. We got dragons on dragons on dragons for now. Okay. Speaking of Devours, we get a Naha Glaive with Ward. Yeah, there's definitely... I know... Because, I mean, personally, I watch a lot of streams when I'm not recording videos. I know there's people who prefer the more, I guess, structured YouTube videos. And there's people who prefer the more live, off-the-cuff streams. So it's nice to get to interact with both different people and interact with the same people in different ways. Plus, I guess you get to kind of get to know me better versus the video. The video is usually more gameplay focused, whereas this is more gameplay plus hanging out. What are some good deck building strategies? It kind of depends on what you want out of your deck. It's definitely common to just go for... And also, first you have to decide what kind of deck you're building. That'll set up a Devour next turn. So if you know what you want to build, if it's going to be an aggressive deck, mid-range control, stuff like that, then you can decide what cards you'd like to build around. Basically what I kind of do is I think of an idea. Basically I think of what do I want to do with this list. So for this Spellsword list, I was like, alright, I want to build something with dragons. So I started putting dragons together and I was like, alright, what colors do I want to use for this dragon list? And I was looking, I really wanted to build around Skeletal Dragon. I wanted something that could use Alduin. So I just started throwing dragons together, and then from there, that's how I picked my colors. But on top of that, after that, you kind of have to just... The way I build my decks is I go and I just get my butt whooped over and over and over and over again until eventually I see what cards are working, what cards aren't working, what matchups am I poor against, how can I swap out cards to make those matchups a little bit better. And over time, the list gets refined. That's if you want to build your own deck from scratch. Another perfectly viable thing is pull a deck list online from Legends decks or from another player you enjoy watching, and from there just kind of change cards from their list to fit your play style. I don't think there's any one way for deck building. I'm more of a pick a theme and build to fit that theme kind of guy, but that doesn't always create tier 1 lists. Ooh, he turns into a Praetorian Commander. That's good for him. You can't target me with javelins. Get that thing out of here. Okay. Is it possible for a free-to-play player to reach Legends? Usually the chance is skewed towards paying players in these kinds of games. I can tell you for a fact, yes, it's possible. I have seen people... both on the subreddit and in general, that started out free-to-play and have become Legend. It also, I mean, obviously it depends on a lot of things. If you're a skilled player, you can take a less than top-tier deck list and pilot it to Legends, because Legend mostly depends on knowledge of the meta, matchups, stuff like that. So if you are a player that can see those matchups and work out well in those matchups, you'll be fine. But if you're kind of like me, and you're not a super top tier player, you'll still be able to hit Legend. It's just going to take you a little bit of time while you grind up your collection. What beverage am I sipping? Ultraviolet Monster. Grape flavored. Not my usual go-to, but very good flavor. For some reason I decided to build a complete full orc deck, which I found isn't the best idea. Full orc I think is perfectly viable. I think, in my experience, if you are a free-to-play player, usually the deck lists that you're capable of running are going to be skewed more towards the aggressive side of things. There's just a lot of control lists and stuff like that kind of rely on more expensive creatures. So if you're free to play, it may be in your best interest to look for something either more mid-range or more aggressive. Something like Orc Warrior or something like that isn't highly expensive. The most expensive cards you're going to be looking for is kind of Wood Orc Headhunter and maybe Belligerent Giant if you want to run those, but they're not required, and maybe Toby as well. But other than that, a lot of the cards kind of take care of themselves. Is Wood Orc Headhunter a top-tier list at the moment? Probably not, but is it still a good list that can probably get you to rank 1 once you get the hang of it? Definitely. How do I want to do this now? Let's swing. We're going to give him a rune, but the most important thing I want to do right now is Winterhold Illusionist Parthenax, so we can get him again. We're going to Fire Breath that guy. 1,000 gold is all OTK Archer costs. Oh yeah, also, I guess I forgot to mention that. If you are a newer player or a free-to-play player and you're looking for good deck lists, those free lists that are provided with the... Not the free list. You get the one free list with the expansion, then the 500 gold lists. They're all fantastic lists to start building from. They give you some free legendaries and stuff like that. So I would definitely suggest building from there. We're going to have another level 3 Fire Breath to cast. This isn't too bad. Let's pull back Parthenax, just because we want to keep getting that value from him. I don't understand the part about the lists. I don't know if you've seen it, but when you were buying or starting off in the Heroes of Skyrim expansion, when it launched, there was a kind of, I think it was a free 50 card list, a deck that they gave to you. So you should have one of those, I believe. I could be wrong. But they were pretty solid decks, pre-built decks with kind of goals in mind. Like, for example, there was one, it was a Alduin Spellsword list. So it would give you Alduin and a bunch of other cards. Kind of, that was basically constructed ready. Not a top-tier deck by any means, but good enough to get you onto the ladder. So let's get rid of that guy. 3, 6, 8. Yeah, I think I got the Aela the Huntress list for free when I started Heroes of Skyrim. That was a bunch of the beast mode cards and stuff like that. Let's see what... pulling a Sovngarde hero back's no good. That's not what I wanted to see. What are some good counters to the archetype besides Market? From what I've read online, Ramp Scout is basically a hard counter to it. I don't know how true that is, but I read that online. I haven't really been running it that much. Oh, thank you. But besides Ramp Scout, it's kind of tough. I was reading on Twitter today a conversation between Justin, CVH, Charmer, a couple other people. They were stating they've had success with a mid-range sorcerer list against the Praetorian Echo Mages. I think Ramp Scout's the way to go. The unfortunate thing is... Oh, that kind of sucks. The unfortunate thing of it is, in that situation, if you don't kind of get your deck going pretty quickly against those lists, you're kind of out of luck and you kind of just lose. How do I want to do this? I can buff everything again. Another Prophecy. As long as there's not a Javelin, we're okay. Let's get this out here. Let's get this out here. You can winter the guy he stole. Will that come back to me? I'm trusting you here, Brigadoon. Oh, that's right. I reset the buff. Good call, buddy. Yeah, the biggest thing is I don't think Praetorian is so bad in general. It's just we've hit such a critical mass of prophecy cards that if you get the Praetorian Commander off a couple times, your opponent's getting like a 9/12 guard for free. Obviously, there's times where somebody's aggressive and you don't get lucky prophecies, you're going to get run over. But I think the cards by themselves are fine. It's just the cards in conjunction with how powerful or how good a lot of prophecy cards are right now that's making the difference. And the tough thing of the situation is, as far as trying to balance things, I don't think any single prophecy card should be nerfed in general. It's just when you have 30, 40, 50 prophecy cards that are all good enough to be played on curve, it's hard to balance it. Because you're going to get to the point where if you're not running 25 plus prophecies, you're at a disadvantage in a game. It's a really unfortunate place to be in. But I'm confident in Direwolf. I think they'll find a good way to balance it without having to over-nerf anything. I mean, you can steal one, but we have enough damage to take you out after this, my man. And you lose all your buffs. Good game, sir. Just gotta take that victory. Let me message my girlfriend real quick.